Hello, I am Simon of Moonstar Board Games. I love board games. I run a board game company, and in this series, what I do is I discuss a game which I really like, why I like that game, and why it might be a good choice for you. I don't discuss in detail and intricacy the rules of the game. I'll give a high-level overview. If you want to find out more about the game and how it specifically plays and all of the individual rules, then I would encourage you to go to a how to play video after watching this if the game does look interesting to you. So in this video, I want to discuss Tussie, Mussie, published by Buttonshy Games, designed by Elizabeth Hargrave. I do have the expansion. I have two copies, and I don't know how this happened. I have two copies of the Flower Shop expansion. If you want one, because I don't know how this happened, if you want one, send me a message on the Moonstar Board Games Instagram, and I'll be happy to send it out to you. Because I don't need two solo I don't need two solo expansions for a game. Certainly not one as elegant and as concise, not just in terms of the game itself, but in terms of its physical presence as Tussie Mussie. So Tussie Mussie is a I pick, you choose type of game. That's its core mechanic. In Tussie Mussie, you will be playing against one other person. This is a one versus one game, very unlike Circle the Wagons, which I've spoken about before, which you can play with 2 to 3, 4 players. This is a one against one game. In this game, both players will be attempting to build up a arrangement of flowers. Each flower has a particular goal or objective on the bottom. For instance, plus 2 points if you have exactly 2 cards in your bouquet, meaning you have exactly 2 cards that are face up. We'll discuss why that's important in a second. So you get 2 points if you have 2 cards in your bouquet, and you will get an extra point from this heart. This is a very low scoring game, so 1 heart is actually a pretty big deal. To play the game, both players will sit next to each other and in front of each other, whatever. One player taking it, or players will in turns take 2 cards. They will look at those 2 cards, see what are the conditions for gaining points, and then instead of keeping both of the cards, they will decide which card to place face up and which card to place face down in front of their opponent, who can then choose one of the cards, giving the other card back to the person who pulled the 2 cards in the first place. And players will take that turn and turn about until they have 4 cards in front of them. If you choose the face down card, that card becomes face down in your arrangement. If you take the face up card, that becomes face up in your arrangement. So if you have exactly 2 cards in your bouquet, that means 2 cards are face up, and your opponent knows that, then you can start to play a little bit of mind games. There is a bluffing aspect to this game, which is done in a very, as I said, a very concise and almost discreet fashion, because it's not really until 2, maybe 3 games of this that you'll start to build a meta for that night, right? For how you have been bluffed or how the person has tried to bluff you in return. There is only 4, 8, 12, 16, 18 cards, I think. I'm not gonna go. I think they're 18. They're around 18 cards. You can get an expansion collection which adds in more cards to this, as well as provides a universal objective or an individual player objective. For instance, maybe get the most pink cards. But honestly, I've never played it. And I've played Tussie Mussie a lot. This is an amazing first date kind of game. I played it a lot, never really felt the need to play the expansion, although I do feel like if you want to get the most out of the game with a significant other, adding in the expansion is probably a nice little way to spice the game up, to spice the game up. But I've never really had to, because honestly, it doesn't. It's a game that's so simple and so, like I say, it's so delicate and it's so concise and precise that even for me, who I play a lot of games, I play very heavy games, I don't really want that extra level of intricacy of bluffing onto this core little small deck of cards. Because one of the nice things if you play the game enough, just with the base set, is that you can start to figure out what cards haven't been pulled yet, right? What cards are going to come down the line. Again, there's 18 cards. You play this game 4 or 5 times, and you will know which cards are in the deck. You'll start to get a picture of what are the combinations, or what are the abilities, like Snapdragon. Before scoring, you may change up to 2 of your cards, each from bouquet to keepsake or keepsake to bouquet. Up to 2. So remember that card before? If you have exactly 2 cards in your bouquet, you get 2 points. Well, if you get this, you're almost guaranteeing that. And you get a score for your trouble. You get a point for your trouble. So you'll start to very quickly get an idea of how the game can play, all the different combinations, and then it really becomes about enjoying the interaction of the game with the other person that you're playing with. And how are they trying to play the game? Are they waiting for another card? Because you only have at max 4 cards in front of each other, it's very easy to see what the other person has, right? Or there's maybe going for, especially, well, certainly the face-up cards. And you will remember, right, when you selected your 2 cards and you played one face down, if they take the face down one, you can remember what that is. And so you can start to kind of grab an idea of what they're trying to do, and you can play against that, or you can just play for yourself, or whatever. This is a very, very accessible game. It is super simple to teach. Plays very, very quickly. You need very, very little room. This is a game which you can play on an a plane table, an aircraft table. Although, again, I do think that this is more deserving of very, very casual environments. I wouldn't want to play this game for a full flight. Like, you want to play this game maybe 5 or 6 times, which is still like a good hour of playing. But then after that, you're kind of gonna see like what it does, and you'll be fine with it. But those first 5 or 6 times of playing that game session are always really, really fun. And although I said this is good for a first date, it's also just a really nice couples game. Like I've played this with significant others before, and found it over multiple sessions. So again, you're not playing more than an hour of this game ever, but you can pick it up again, and if you play it enough, you can still start to build up that long-term meta of, I remember when we played this last and you picked those, etc., etc. So I'm going to play against that. One last thing I'd like to say about this before I stop, because I don't want to talk too much about Tussie Mussie. It's a great game. I really think every couple should have it. Is that it's not super thematic, okay? It's not a super thematic game, but it does have really nice elements of theme applied into it. So back in the day, when you, like in the Victorian era, when you gave someone flowers, each of the flowers said something specific. You weren't just giving a set of flowers, you were saying something with those flowers. So Snapdragon, Snapdragon, for instance, what that literally means in flower terms is, you have deceived me. You have deceived me, sir. But there are others like orchids are, you are beautiful. Camellia, you're a flame in my heart. These little things, as well as the art, makes for a very, very nice, approachable little game that it's not scary to play this game. It doesn't also require, it's not an intellectually taxing game. You can sit down and, like I say, memorize all these cards, but you never really, you're going to maybe get to that point at the end of a session of playing like 5 or 6 on a date, 5 or 6 games on a date. But by the next time you play it, you will forget them again. And at that point, you just get back to enjoying the process of trying to figure out what your opponent's doing. And opponent, I say partner, what your partner is trying to do with their arrangement in order to score points. So it's very nice. It's very friendly. It's very friendly. I guess you could play it kind of meanish, but it's 4 cards. It's simple, and that simplicity allows it to kind of mask any meanness, or any strategic kind of play, or even tactical play in terms of being mean. Like I know you want this card that I have just taken, so I'm going to play it face down with a face up card that might seem better than this card, even though I know the face down card will be better for you than the face up card. But the face up card is good, but it's not as good. So I know you're going to take that card because I know you're not going to then take the face down card. I'll take the face down card. You won't get as many points. You can have those kind of thought processes, but honestly, it's just a fun little simple game. Anything can be made to be complicated if you apply enough of if I apply enough 2 out of my 3 brain cells to it, then it can become complicated. But it's a really, really nice game to play with your partner. It's a really great first date game. Pick the person you want to play this kind of game with. Some people aren't going to want to play a game about flowers. It's okay. It's totally fine. It's also, again, it's 2-player only. So it's dedicated to a very particular type of environment, first dates, that kind of thing. I mean, if I was a lassie and I was having a date with a lad, right? I'd probably, if a girl pulled this out on a date, I'd probably still be like, yeah, let's play, man, let's play. But yeah, very, very nice game. Really, really like Tussie, Mussie.